Hotep, brothers and sisters, Black Power. Giving honor to the Creator, giving honor to the ancestors, giving honor to my sister, my father, Chief of Staff Harris Abdul, my in-laws, and all of the brothers and sisters and ancestors that have laid their lives down and continually that are fighting for the liberation and salvation of our black nation. First of all, I want to get started with this thing y'all call Roseanne Barr was brought to my attention about, some of the remarks that she made, some Planet of the Apes or some racial remarks she made to, Valerie Jarrett, who was part of the Obama administration, one of his assistants or whatever. And what can you expect, from a devil? Excuse me. Yeah, I'm having problems with my lighting, so bear with me. But nevertheless, this hillbilly, this hillbilly carpet munching, jelly sandwich eating, trailer park biscuit and jelly eating, dried oatmeal eating, barefoot in the trailer park, waiting on the county fair ass inbred motherfucking cracker who got a lucky break and got on a TV show and brought all of that white trash, brought that white trash energy to television, and it became a major hit. It became a major hit. People, crackers love that shit. What's the guy that he played in the Flintstones? Big old, crab bushel, barrel stomach, plaid shirt wearing, inbred fucking redneck that played her husband in the show. And, then she ran into Tom Arnold, who wasn't nothing but an ex-con and construction worker. She cleaned him up. Once he found out how dirty she was, he left and went on and had a successful career. And then, Roseanne, who was a carpet muncher, you know what I'm saying? She's one of the main pussy bumpers in those Hollywood parties. But she's wore out now. She's wore out now. She was on her last leg, and then when she made that remark, they got rid of her. They got rid of her. Canceled her show for the sake of the other whites. See, they didn't cancel the show. They make y'all think that they canceled the show like it was some type of excuse me. They can't. They made it appear to you all to make it seem like ABC is so ethnic. They're evenly unbiased and deal with diversity and all this evenly ethnical opportunities and all this bullshit. But for real, what they didn't want was the network being cut off, period. They didn't want ABC to be cut off by these gullible people that watch TV, primarily black people. Black people watch more TV than anybody. And so they got rid of Roseanne, because if she says that openly and can do it, like, you can imagine what went on behind the scenes when they weren't on the camera. She's not the only one, because she's been so conditioned to those type of conversations where it just naturally slipped out at the wrong time. So they're not fooling nobody. This old lesbian jelly sandwich eating, unhygienic motherfucking trailer park trash. I want us to take a look at some of our ancestors. Now, this brother is supposed to be the most newest, recent painting, if you will, of the great Nat Turner. And, you know, as we know, that's Dred Scott, brother Dred Scott decision, you know, from 1850. Beethoven, who they always tried to make Beethoven seem like he was just white, inbred European, but he wasn't. Beethoven was a what you would call then a Moor, Tovin Bey. And it's books on the texture of Beethoven's hair, of how thick and woolly it was. And also, like I explained to you all before, you know, Beethoven cut in between his fingers, made incisions in between his fingers to stretch his fingers, where it would be very difficult or possible at all to play any of Beethoven's music, not without another person. So it always takes two people to play any of Beethoven's concertos, you know. And the way he stretched his fingers, he was able to, you know, hit 32 chords, and he was an amazing, strong black brother. So children and parents, don't let them tell you about Beethoven being white, because he wasn't. You know, these are pictures of our great queens. You know, our sisters, our brothers and sisters who, in the they call it the Dark Ages for the Europeans. You know, it was dark for them. They had no idea of how to become civil until our ancestors came over there in Europe. The Black Plague was going on. Smallpox, chicken pox, you know, diseases were everywhere. They weren't bathing. White women had pubic hair, you know, literally hanging down. You know, literally hanging down. Same with their underarm hair. They knew nothing about shaving. They knew nothing about hygiene whatsoever. Until the Moors came over, bought street lights, disinfect, showed them how to use and make soap, because they were sleeping with the cows. They were sleeping with the animals. And so the Moors taught them how to make corrals, you know, to separate the animals from the humans when they sleep at night, so the children wouldn't get pecked by chickens. And that's where chicken pox originated from. And so, you know, they were a bunch of diseasy savages. And we went over, the Moors went over there in 711, and again to civilize them. Show them how to cut their pubic hair, the women how to cut their pubic hair, what a sanitary napkin was, how to make them. Because they were literally walking around just dripping blood profusely during their menstrual cycle. You know, all types of animals, rats, dogs, all types of animals, pigs would follow the women, you know, and drink that blood. So, you know, and of course, bestiality was a pastime for some of those savage ass crackers. You know, but these are just paintings, authentic paintings of our ancestors. This is the first Meghan Markle for real. You know, Queen Charlotte, who was fucking King George. You know, and that melanin drove him crazy because I believe they had 16 children. So that lets you know the melanin that this devil was tasting if you will, you know, drove him wild to the point where he couldn't even concentrate on his duties. And see, back then, the mulattoes, just like today, history is repeating itself. You know, the mulattoes of today are reigning, you know, reigning supreme. And back then they reigned supreme. They were looked at as being special. Looked at as, you know, even during physical and chattel slavery. You know, they were exceptions to the rules. You know, they had the most easier jobs. They weren't beat as much, you know, as the field slaves, as the heavily melanated, real strong brothers and sisters that were out there in the fields. And in a lot of cases, you know, the mulattoes during slavery would look down on those heavily melanated brothers and sisters. And they do the same thing today. You know, we held royal positions. You know, we ruled. You know, the dress code was ours. You know, this was I forgot the brother's name. Brother was thorough. This brother was very, very thorough. Highly intelligent, heavily melanated, could not be fooled or tricked, and he was a revolutionary. I think it's Oladu. I have the name for you. But nevertheless, you know, we reigned supreme. You know, Prince Sin K. You know, the movie Amistad was about this brother who they fought on that ship. They just didn't come over here and were, you know, singing songs or you know, I can't wait to get back home and all that. These brothers fought, you know, murdered several crewmen, white crewmen on that ship Amistad. You know, very, very strong warriors. And then during that time of physical and chattel slavery, they didn't just grab anyone. You know, this brother was royalty. You know, they knew what they were doing. They would grab brothers and sisters who had power, and they would break them down to the lowest human form possible. You know, like I said, you know, and we started the entire Christian story of the Bible, story of the Quran, the Holy Quran, you know, of Mecca, the Yusuf Ali edition. And don't get me wrong, because you see me with the crown on my head doesn't make me a Muslim. You know, I'm not a Muslim. I'm not in no religion, period. However, these are crowns, and it's whatever you make it when you put it on your head, or whatever you put on. You make it and name it what you want to name it, because that's the energy that you're putting into it. But back to the subject matter. You know, we were civilized, as you can see, in the 1400s and 1500s. You know, we were clean, we were well dressed, well groomed, and the same way we tried to civilize, you know, these Europeans. You know, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and you know, Toussaint Louverture, you know, led the Haitian Revolution. You know, in 1804, our ancestors were fed up with physical and chattel slavery over in Haiti. They were completely done with it. They had ran out of patience. you know, singing those songs, Wade in the Water, and, you know, singing to Jesus and Muhammad and all of this shit, you know, was not working. Was not working for them. Because Dessalines Bookman stated, if you want to be free, get rid of your white God. Get rid of your white God and you are free. And that's what happened. They had temporary, you know, Dessalines Bookman Dada to St. Leto. They had temporary liberation from slavery over in Haiti because they defeated the French, the British, and the Spanish. And they were skinning them alive, putting them on, hanging them on trees. And see, when the Haiti got hit with the earthquake a few years back, that's the reason why Pat Robertson was praying that all of the residents of Haiti would perish in that earthquake. Because he said that the Haitis rebelled against slavery. So they should be punished. You know, like they were supposed to just go along and be slaves. And so, just like here, we have a lot of brothers and sisters the same way, comfortable with being slaves. True liberators, freedom fighters, then and now. Now, excuse me. You might say, some of you might say, Tupac, how is he a liberator and freedom fighter? He was definitely one. Definitely one. You know, being a Gemini, he had those dual personalities as well as dual addictions and dual extremist mindset and behaviors. He still had the proper paramilitary conscious upbringing by his mother, Afeni Shakur. But Pac made a lot of songs relating to the struggle, relating to the pain and suffering of our brothers and our sisters. He believed that God was a black woman. If you listen to the song on the Machiavelli album called Blasphemy, and he states that. He says God is taking it, God is taking it, God is coming, she just taking her time. And then he laughs. You know, because he was far ahead of his time. And so, you know, the FBI, LAPD, along with several rappers and entertainers, and the Las Vegas Police Department took our brother out of here, took our brother Pac out of here. He wanted a shelter, he wanted to feed breakfast programs, and after every album CD sale, he wanted breakfast programs in every inner city. He wanted to feed black people. He wanted our people to grow. And he even stated it himself that, you know, he'd rather not be here if things don't change. And he done his best. However, when you have a bunch of illiterate thugs around you, it's hard to stay on the straight and narrow. You know, and then you making gangster songs just to make money, because no one was behind you to stand behind you and your music, so you could have made all conscious music. So you had to please the devil and God, and that doesn't work. You know, even in your scriptures that you all read, you Christians, it said you can't serve two masters. So, nevertheless, Pac was a genius. He had a stroke of genius. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who, when I was little, had in DC, they had stores. They had furniture stores. Nation of Islam sold fish. They had the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, which later turned to the Final Call. Canneries, farmland. People had jobs, employment. A lot of brothers that were coming home from the war got in the nation and was clean, and the nation cleaned them up. You know, so Malcolm being one of them. Malcolm being one of them. Okay, Frederick Douglass. I'm Old Testament Frederick Douglass, and I'm Old Testament Malcolm. I'm Old Testament Frederick, and I'm Old Testament Malcolm. You know, Frederick Douglass, I'm talking about before he got married a devil and all that shit, you know. And, you know, Malcolm before the OAAU. But they both were revolutionaries. Malcolm to the end, Frederick Douglass from the beginning. Betty Shabazz. For every strong soldier has to be a soldieress. And Betty Shabazz was all of that. She was heavily melanated, gorgeous, and a committed mother, committed wife, and committed to the nation. Let's not forget the World War I soldiers, because we have a tendency to go to World War II in Vietnam, you know, but we never talk about World War I when Teddy Roosevelt, that devil, used these brothers in the Battle of San Juan Hill, and they never got credit for anything. And that was one of the most strongest wars. Pretty drawn out as well. So let's not forget these brothers. You know we don't forget the Civil War soldiers. However, they always show the Union soldiers. They never show the black Confederate soldiers that had no choice in the matter, that were lied to and told that they were fighting for their freedom. And the Union was told that they were fighting for their freedom too. And they told that each side was the enemy. And that's where I saw a lot of dumb shit between the black Civil War soldiers, where they went hard on each other like Crips and Bloods because they were lied to. Winnie Mandela, one of the strongest black women that I've known on this planet. When she went, she stuck by Nelson Mandela all those years. Nelson Mandela left her for another woman. And then when Nelson Mandela gets out of jail, Winnie goes to jail. This is after Nelson Mandela is home. He allowed Winnie to go to jail. And she was the one putting gasoline-filled ties around the necks of agents, stool pigeons, snitches, rats, provocateurs for Nelson Mandela. And the way he paid her back was send her to prison. And then Nelson Mandela, when he, you know, nobody comes out of jail for being a revolutionary. You spend 27 years in jail, you come home and be president without a script or a plan behind that. And that's what it was. Instead of him punishing F.W. de Klerk and John Foster for war crimes for killing millions of Africans, as well as a redistribution of the wealth, our brothers and sisters got nothing. Nothing. They were promised the same shit that blacks were promised here when Obama came in office, and they got nothing. And they didn't get a damn thing out the deal but a sore throat from fucking yelling. Everybody else benefited. In South Africa, all the whites were allowed to, you know, hold on to their wealth that they stole from the Africans. In the same way in the United States, Obama allowed the whites here, the devils, to hold on to their money and bailed them out during this recession, dealing with mortgages and foreclosures and all of this, and black people were literally on the fucking streets. But he made sure whites didn't go on the street. That's Pac there. I guess his energy took him back to being on the plantation. And see, this is what I'm saying, how Pac was so ahead of his time to be so young. The average rapper wouldn't even think of anything like this. Couldn't come up with a concept like that and give honor and pay homage to the ancestors. You know, they have to have on bling and, you know, a half-naked woman with drugs and guns laying around. And then naming themselves after one of these old faggot Italians or Nina Simone and Michael Jackson. They were warriors. You know, Michael Jackson had to be taught the hard way that he was a nigger. That the whites showed him he was a nigger. As long as he was moonwalking, you know, and looking white and kissing on crackers and all of that type of shit, he was okay. But when he wanted to be a black man and have a stake in the system, they let the dogs go on him. They let the dogs go on him and fucked him around till they killed him. Nina Simone went hard. She was the first person I ever heard use profanity on a record. When she's Mississippi goddamn. You know. And in the movie just depicted her of being this old slushy ass drunk, which is a total disrespect to the legacy of Nina Simone. And they used the wrong person, Zaldana, you know, some old, you know, white boy lover, slut, you know, in Hollywood to betray this black queen. Could have used Viola Davis or somebody. You didn't have to use this old, you know, some Colombian, this anorexic, horsehead motherfucker. Amos Wilson, Blueprint for Black Power. One of the most highly read books in the black community, in black history, along with Destruction of Black Civilization and Stolen Legacy. Amos Wilson, I believe he was poisoned. You know, no one goes from 160 to 400 and something odd pounds in a couple of months and literally just bust open and die. I believe he was poisoned. May he rest in power, Brother Amos, the elder. Dr. King and Coretta. A lot of people know Coretta as having that old country southern charm with that smile. But Coretta was a straight up conspiracy theorist. She went hard after her husband was slain. Now you have to look at the footage. Look at the footage of the funeral, of how Jesse kept trying to look at Coretta, and Coretta was just, turning her head away from him because she knew he played a role in her husband's assassination. And see, just like today, they don't. There's not a lot of sisters out here like that. The first thing a sister wants is who's on the insurance policy. Then that determines whether they're gonna go to the funeral, how long they're gonna cry, and put on a show and a fucking act. You never heard Coretta discuss anything like that. None of that stuff was discussed. Because her husband and his mission was more important than any amount, any dollar amount. Johnny Cochran, as Brother Dale Jones said, he was given instant cancer, add water and stir. He was all right, and he wasn't murdered like a lot of people think behind some O.J. Simpson. Hell no. That's nothing. Brother Cochran was taken out of here because he was close, very close, to charging the 90 Snakes with kidnapping, torture, chattel slavery, and reparations was in the making. That was Johnny Cochran's next case. He was not going to work on anything else until he won the reparations case. And they knew that he was close. They knew he was so close on the UN summoning all the countries to hear his plea. And so he was murdered. And no one asked for reparations since. And those who have, they just bullshit. To me, they just bullshit, and it's just talk. They don't have nothing else to talk about. Bank accounts low. They, they want some reparation coat and all that bullshit. A reparation tattoo and all that. Everybody know who this brother is. But one thing I can say about him, that he stopped his show when he heard this white devil bitch either call him or call somebody a nigger at his show. So, I pay homage to that brother. And also, he has not, at this point, he has not sold his soul. At this point, he has not sold his soul. So my hat goes off to you, brother. Muhammad Ali, was bad, man. Vicious brother. And not just with the hands. He had a gift. That was a gift that he was given at the age of 18 or 19. To have the height that he had and had the hand and foot speed that he had. He was amazing. He was amazing. You know anything about boxing? It's difficult to hit something that's standing in front of you and you're unable to hit it. And he can hit you 5 or 6 times before you blink your eye. I mean, literally. And to defeat Sonny Liston, who his wife was going to leave him and asked was his life insurance paid up, because she thought he was going to die in the ring. You know, but he was Cassius Clay then. But Muhammad Ali, not only from the ring, outside of the ring, Muhammad Ali was a stand-up brother. And I think LeBron James is trying to, you know, wear the shoes of Muhammad Ali as being deeply involved in politics and social issues, injustices that take place in the black community, trying to change the mindset of the people in the black community. Because if you give a dope fiend, you ride around and give dope fiends money, they're just going to be bigger dope fiends. But if they're educated first and then you give them the money, they become an asset to the black community. And those are the things that we kind of, you know, get confused, because we'll say, you know, that nigga, he ain't shit, he ain't come by the hood and give nobody no money, you know. What is your social status and what are you doing with your life? That if you were given $10,000 or $20,000, would you kill yourself with it? Or will you make an impact in the community? Not just getting no flat screen TV for your house. I'm talking about making an impact in the community. So it's easy to say that, where these people train all their lives since they're little children, you know, and grow up and their dreams come true. And you've been sitting on your ass all your life, and you just sitting back trying to shatter that person's dream. You know, we got some brothers and sisters out here that are philanthropists and that are for the good of our race. You know, but the majority of them, you know, are chasing a dollar and they're chasing glamour and glory. You know, more than change. This brother here, I respect a lot. Shaka Shakur, he's out of New York. He's a former chairman of the New York chapter, New Black Panther Party. But now he has he has his own organization. I believe it's called Black Soldiers or something. Something similar to my organization, Street Law Soldiers. And, you know, when I met the brother, you know, we had a small, short conversation. But his energy, his heart is in the right place. He's a soldier. He has some soldiers behind him, and they're putting in work up in Harlem. Rest in power, Dr. Sabi. Your work still lives on. You still have people following your instructions on how to lose weight, how to rid themselves of diseases. Your work will never end. Your work will never end. And I have you all on my walls, on my murals, and collages, because you changed the lives of many people. And what you did to Sister Left Eye before she was murdered was amazing. So may you continue to keep working. And speaking of Left Eye, as you can see, she's cleansed. And the powers that be were after her because of the fact that she had become a positive impact in the black community, and especially in Atlanta. She was cleaning the youths up in Atlanta, little by little, bringing them over there to Dr. Seavy's compound, cleaning them up, sending them back, not only just with a clean, cleansed body physically, but along with a lot of information on Kemet and from Kemet on up. You know, so, you know, she was murdered, break line cut. Either Suge Knight or some other people had a role in that. You know, the original Black Panther Party. You know, these brothers, and these were some of the hardest, hardcore brothers that will be considered thugs and hoodlums back in the 60s. But they were reformed. They were putting in work. And see, the thing about the original Black Panther Party, they were willing to fight. They were willing to get down in the trenches and physically fight. See, it wasn't about a whole bunch of marching. They were following a lot of the teachings of Malcolm X about stop singing and start swinging. Bobby Hutton, I think he was the first enlisted Panther in the 60s, 16 years old. He was with Eldridge Cleaver in a shootout in Oakland, barricaded in the house. And so they came out with no clothes on. Well, Eldridge was naked with his hands up. Bobby Hutton, I believe, had his shirt off and his hands up. And he was shot and murdered. Young brother, Lil Bobby, Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture. Very, very powerful brother. Very powerful. I recommend that anybody go on YouTube and look at some of his lectures and speeches. He was also murdered too, as Brother Dale Jones stated. Instant cancer, add water and stir. See, they made their rounds in the late 90s, early 2000s to get rid of the voices that were still kicking. These two brothers never got a chance to bloom. And the brother in the black turtleneck, Bunchy Carter, who is said to be the strongest Panther, period. The strongest Panther ever. The most articulate Panther ever. Along with his good comrade, John Huggins. They went to UCLA to speak on the campus. And they were murdered. It was an execution. Afeni Shakur, one of the original Black Panthers, the New York 21, where Dhoruba Ben Wahad and Afeni Shakur and 19 others did time, in which Afeni was pregnant with Pop, while in Sing Sing, Rikers Island, the Tombs, and when she got out, I think a month or two later, she gave birth to the warrior. But Afeni too was murdered. And what happened, Afeni kept coming on the set of All Eyes on Me, stating that this didn't happen like this and this didn't happen like that. You all gonna have to tell the truth if you're gonna tell it. And they got tired of that because they were more focused on getting the movie done and getting paid, opposed to telling the truth about every scene. And so she was supposedly married to this preacher, which I don't know what led her to do that. And somehow she was poisoned. Someone that ran 5 miles every day that was a vegan, that didn't smoke or drink, just pop up. Don't work like that. But see, since they know that we're not going to follow up on anything, see, if Pac was living, he would have followed up on that. First of all, it wouldn't have happened had he been living. But they know we don't follow up on anything, so what the hell? Greatest man ever. And I'm going to get back with y'all on this shortly. I'm going to do a part 2 to this. So just bear with me. Hotep, Black Power.